So problem set 4.
I have to leave soon, so we start with the chapter 9 problems because we just covered that material in class today, so it's kind of unfamiliar still.
Yeah. Do we have chapter 9 problems?
Yes. Yeah.
Actually, I cannot link the problems to the chapters. So what's chapter 9?
It's just like the book problem is like 9.14, 9.15, 9.16.
This 9.14,
9. Okay.
9.16.
Oh, this question, right? So you just go over the materials today?
Yeah, we just did like chapter 9 material in class today, so it's like unfamiliar still.
So you want me to go through this?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I will try, but I didn't prepare these, so I may be quite, Yeah, let's see if we can finish all the other problems first.
Oh,
Okay.
I just asked because I have to go soon.
Yeah, right. So then I am going to do a plan here. Yeah, that's each of you, how many questions do you have? Just maybe give me a number, like the one by one. Okay, how many questions? If all, then just all questions. You want to stay here? All the office hour. Yeah. Anyone you
I'll be
want.
staying entirely.
Yeah, right. And if some of you just want to learn to get some ideas about certain questions and you want to go, so you first, right? So any like the
I want to talk about question like the application question 3.
application questions.
The like entry and exit with Uber.
I think we did.
And what's next? What's your question 9 point, right?
Like 9.14, 9.15, 9.16.
9.14, 14, 16, and 14, 15, and 16, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And what else? Anyone else? So what I'm going to do is, let me see. Industry supply, the summer supply curves. Okay, sure. Let's do this. Let's do the application 3 for which of you are in a hurry? Quite a hurry.
I guess she's more than 3.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have an hour.
But she has 3 questions. You only have maybe 1, but you go.
Well, it's a long question.
Yeah, it's a long question, but I think this one is going to take maybe shorter time since I prepared. Yeah, so maybe it's okay. I will do maybe 14 first. 9.14 first. Yeah, let's do this. We can get this one. A perfectly competitive industry consists of 2 types of firms. 100 firms of type A. Okay. 100 firms of type A. And 30 firms of type B. Each type A firm has a short supply curve as equals to 2p. And firm B has a short run supply curve as equals to 10p. The market demand curve, B price equals to 5,000 subtract 500p. What's the short run equilibrium price? So we want to know the price. First step. What's our first step? What's our first move? Like, what's your idea on this?
So the quantity produced by each firm would be equal to the demand curve.
The quantity?
Yeah. So if it's like 100 firms with 2p, so
right.
100 into 2p plus
Yeah, okay. So
30 into 10p would be equal to
Q
demand.
type A, let's do maybe QA. Q type A, what's Q type A? The quantity produced by A. What's the relationship between Q type A and P and price? You just multiply them one by each other, right? It's 2, because for each one firm you produce 2P, and for the 100 firm you produce 200P. Does that make sense? So for type B firm, is QB equals to 30 times 10p, which is 300p. And well, we only got p here, so we can add them together to get like the aggregate supply. The aggregate supply. So aggregate supply AS, or maybe just S, because here is a microeconomics. S equals to 500p. 200 plus 300, okay? And with the you got the supply function, you got the demand function, kind of solve the equilibrium point. This is the demand function, right? This is the demand. You replace this one by what? By Q. This is a Q, right? This is a quantity. This is how the demand curve looks like. The quantity equals to 5,000 subtract 500p, and you got the supply here. We also replace this by Q. Q equals to 500p, and you link them together. You solve, right? Two functions. I will show you the process. Let's Q equals to 500p, and Q equals to 5,000 subtract 500p. So what should we do? We set Q equals to Q. 500p equals to 5,000 subtract 500p. 1,000p equals to 5,000. P equals to 5. That's P star. And you can draw a graph. You can even draw a graph on this. And you indicate that you show that the graph is 5 and what's quantity? Quantity equals to 500p. Quantity will be 2,500. Right?
For this question, like for every dollars of price, I mean P, B firm can produce 300, while A firm can produce 200. Does that mean B firm is more effective in producing this product?
I think you by indicating productive, you have to cite a unit.
Yeah.
On what unit, right? You mean if B firm as a total, they are more productive than A firm as a total. That's okay. But for each one B firm, you see each one B firm they produce 10, and each one A firm they produce 2. So it's also B firm. Each single B firm is maybe more productive than each single A firm. But A firm as a total, I mean the aggregate A firm is productive than a single B firm, right? So when we are talking about productivity, you have to be very clear about like the unit you are discussing. Yeah.
But if we are in a perfectly competitive market, firm A could like compete with firm B.
So yeah, right. And
so if firm A can't compete with firm B,
they can. They can compete with firm B. This perfectly competitive market. But after all, these numbers are after computation numbers. You know, it's, including every information. We only know that in the market, one price equals to 1, A is going to produce 2. Price equals to 1, B is going to produce 10. That's how we got. Yeah, don't think too far about like the mechanism behind. Just focus on the question. They give you this what's that called? The conditions. They give you like the information. Can I erase this? Since for this question, I think we incorporate, or maybe we assume a lot of things. We assume each A form they have exactly the same supply curve as each other, and we can we can multiply them together. Right? We can multiply them. We can add them one by one. Add the total A equals like the total demand. Total supply equals to each supply like the. Let me see. The total supply equals to supply 1 plus supply 2 plus supply like the n to the n. So that's a very strong assumption. Usually we cannot, like Leon said, because they have computation. So if firm A is going to produce a lot, firm B may not produce as much. But here we are using this assumption. And question 9.15. Yeah, I think that's a process you read through a question, especially Barker's question. You read first step is reading the question. You know, you read carefully and you try to understand what's the information he wants you to use. But for the practice questions, it's quite straightforward. They give you directly the information. A market contains a group of identical price-taking firms. You see the identical price-taking firms. So they are also like the identical, and it's a strong assumption. Each firm has a marginal cost curve, SMC. That's a marginal cost curve equals to 2Q. When Q is the annual output of each firm, a study reveals that each firm will produce the price exceed 20 units and will shut down. Okay. Will produce the price exceed 20 per unit. $20 per unit. If the price is less than 20, oh, I see. So each firm will produce when the price, right? If, sorry, I didn't get the if. So fold it. So a study reveals that each firm will produce if the price exceeds 20 per unit. Means when P is greater or maybe equals to 20, we will produce. And we'll shut down if the price is less than 20 per unit. If price is smaller than $20, then shut down. Okay. The market demand curve, and we got the market demand curve, which is Q equals to 240 subtract P over 2, where P is the market price. At the equilibrium market price, each firm produced 20 units. Okay, so what is the equilibrium market price? And how many firms are in this industry? Sure. So how can we solve this? We know that at equilibrium price, at this point, sorry. This is P, this is Q. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is Q. And we know that at the equilibrium price, so this equals to 20. Right? So what is the equilibrium market price? Any idea? Yeah, someone can start. Maybe I will start like this and you decide whether it's okay or not. I can directly replace Q by 20 and then I got a P and that's a market equilibrium price because that's a market equilibrium function. Is that okay? Does that make sense?
But that won't be right because
yeah, if you think it's wrong, then tell me in one sentence. Okay, let's be brave. In one sentence, why this solution is wrong? If I put Q, if I subtract Q by, if I replace Q by 20, which means I got something. I can got 20 equals to 240 subtract P over 2, and P over 2 equals to 220, which means P equals to 440. Wow, it's already
because 20 is by an individual firm. We don't know the number of firms, so
exactly
20 into.
So here, because 20, you see the 20. You read the question carefully, you got a really important information. Each firm, you can see that each firm they produce 20 instead of the market produce 20. And we want to find out how the market produce. How many units the market produce. So how many units will the market produce? We have to know what information. Maybe we have to. If we know the price, we know this one, right? But a more direct way, a more straightforward thought will be if we know each firm produce 20, we want to know how many firms are there, right? But that's not given in the question. That's why this question is a little bit harder than the previous one. Since in the previous one we got 100 firms, we have maybe 50 firms, right? Here we don't have the number of the firms. That's why it's hard. So we want to know, we have to go like an indirect way, which means we solve the price and then we know the total quantity. And what will be the price? What will be the price in the firm? So if a firm, is there anything that you have known, the function you can use?
So if the quantity is 0 when the price is P minus 20, can we use that?
Can we use which one? This one?
Because if the price is less than 20.
Price is less than 20?
No, price is less than 20. Oh, no.
So when will if you think yourself as a firm manager, when will you stop producing?
When the price is below 20.
Yeah.
What, below what?
20.
Below 20?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's shut down, right?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. But when will you stop producing? If you are at 20, if the price is $20, will you produce or not?
Yes.
But if the price is too high, you will stop producing, right? If the price is too high, you will stop producing. Yeah, right. Because the price cannot always go higher, higher. And actually, it's not about the price. It's about what? If you are a firm manager, if you are managing a factory, what do you? The sales, maybe it's another. Now you are thinking from the consumer side, but from the producer side, what do we care? Profit. Yeah, profit is calculated by what? How do you calculate profit?
Price into quantity.
Price into quantity, that's profit, but that's a
revenue. This is revenue.
That's a revenue. That's not a profit, right? Yeah. So what do you
revenue minus total cost?
Yeah, right. So the cost. So as a firm manager, as a manager as a producer, you will always produce until one condition, and I want you to really put that condition into your mind and actually stick that in your mind, because when the price equals to marginal cost, when this equation is okay, when this is fine, you will stop producing. Since the marginal cost will increase, right? When the marginal cost is increasing, you're always facing an increasing marginal cost. As you produce each additional unit, you cost more. So when the price is equal to the marginal cost, you should stop producing, as you can only get the price from the market, which can just cover your margin cost. When the revenue you got cannot cover your margin cost, why are you selling that good, right? Like the additional, let's do this. Maybe the price, this is the marginal cost, this is the price, this is 20. Okay, let's suppose this, no, I don't want to use 20. Maybe this is 45. So this graph is nothing to do with this whole question, okay? If the price is 45 and your margin cost increasing like this way, which unit will you produce? Will you produce here at point A? Will you keep producing? You will. Since since the price, this is how much you can earn from the market, and this is your cost. You still get you are still profitable. This is your profitability. This part is like the profitability. Right, this line. Since the price is how much you can get from the consumer like us, and this point is the marginal cost for this unit. And until this point, point B, will you producing? You will, keep producing. You will stop. Since at this point, this additional unit gives you zero profit, and the additional unit after this will give you negative profit. Right? You start to lose money since the price. Since I sell maybe I can't think how to say, maybe a mouse. For this mouse, my cost is greater than 45. My marginal cost is greater than 45, but my marginal revenue, yeah, this is marginal revenue. But my marginal revenue is $45. So I earn $45, costing $50. I won't make that unit. I know I won't make that unit. That's when I will stop producing, when the MR equals to, which is the price. But sometimes it's not the price. This is a competitive market, it's the price. When MR equals to price equals to MC. So let's go back to this question. If we know this, and we know our marginal cost function, right? We know the marginal cost function, so we just set this to the market price. We know that at the equilibrium, the price will be 20. So we set 20 equals to 2Q. Will that be 2Q? 20 is the unit, sorry. So we set P, the marginal price, equals to 2Q, and Q is 20. So marginal price, the marginal revenue, which is P equals to marginal revenue equals to 2Q equals to 20, equals to 2Q equals to 2 times 20 equals to 40. Which means in the end, the market price will be 40. Will be $40. When the market price will be $40, you plug this back into this. Plug this back into this function. Maybe into 1, you got a quantity. I think the quantity should be 220. That's your total quantity in the market, which means 220 units are produced in the market. And if one firm can produce 20, we got 220 units in the market. How many firms are there? That's very simple, right? It's you just divide 220 by 20, you got 11. Is that right? Or 12? 11. I think it's 11. Yeah, 11. So that's how you solve this. let's review. Let's do a review. First, we only have the equilibrium. Each firm we don't have the aggregate level. We only have each firm produce 20 units. We only have that information. So the first step is we want to know what's the market price. The market price will be we will end producing. We are producing the first one, the second one, the third one until we produce the 41. The 20th one. Because the 20th one make us zero profitability, make us earn $0 from the market. So the price will be 2 times 20. Since we know the marginal cost, equals to 2 times 20, right? We make I will write this down. First, we know that Q equals to 20. So second, then we know that our marginal cost at that point equals to $40. Means we want to produce the 20th unit, we cost $40. That's the first step. And second, we know that we will only stop producing when the price equals to the marginal cost. So we know that the equilibrium price should be $40. And the third step is we plug this into the demand curve. So we know the aggregate supply, the quantity in Q, aggregate supply AS. And we got the numbers. Okay, that's for this question. It's a really typical one, and if you were in a normal class, you will be testing on this one. But if for Bunker, I cannot. This time I really cannot promise you, so I just.
Could you tell me one more time when you got 220? I gotta get that. And why are you dividing by quantity to figure out how many? Okay, got it.
Yeah, right. When you got this, because that's an aggregate supply. That's how many firms are producing. Sorry, that's a total units. And you got each firm producing 20. You divide, so you got a number of firms. What? I don't know why after they erase the blackboard is very clean. You see this part? Even some secret weapon. I don't know what. Maybe I just erase hard. And 9.16. 9.16. The wood pallet market. Yeah, the wood pallet market. When you see a question like this, don't panic because it's from the textbook and the wood wallet pallet is just a name. Market contains many identical. You see still identical firms. It's always an assumption. That's why we can divide. If the firms are not identical, then we cannot divide because each firm is producing differently, and you cannot use 220 over 20, which gives us 11. That's not okay if they are not identical. Each with a short-run total cost function. So this time we got total cost function. Total cost function equals to 400 plus 5Q plus Q star. So you do know the marginal cost, average cost, and total cost, right? Total cost, marginal cost, and average cost. And if you put S, that means what? That means short term, okay? So that means this means short term total cost, short term marginal cost, and short term average cost. So total cost is you add all the marginal cost. Okay, so marginal cost comes first. For each additional unit, how much will it cost? Total cost means you add, so we make a table. So first, second, third, fourth, 5, 6. And first unit costs you $1. And second unit costs you $2. Third costs you $4. Fourth costs you $7. Fifth costs you $10. Sixth costs you $13. What will be the total cost line? What's this number?
1.
This one, yeah, right. What's this number? 3. 1 plus 2. And what's this number?
7.
3 plus 4 is 7. And this 14.
24.
And this one 24. And this one 37. Okay, and what about the average cost? Average cost is the total cost over the quantity. Okay, so first one will be 1. Second one will be 3 over 2, 1.5. This one will be 4 over 3, 1.6.
1.75.
1.33. 1.33 maybe. Oh, maybe it's
1.75.
Yeah, you're right. Oh no, not 1.75.
Like 1 point then
It's
3.
7. Sorry, I'm flat. It's 7 over 3.
7 over
7 over 3 is 2.33. Okay, 2.33. 14 over 4.
Okay, this time.
That's 7 over 2. 3.5.
Okay,
And
dividing it
24
this
over
way.
5.
Okay, that way.
24 over 5, what's that? That's, I think, should be 4.8.
4.8.
And 37 over 6. Oh, I don't want to do this one.
6.1.
Yeah, so always use this total cost over the quantity. So you still need this line to tell you the average cost. That's the relationship between them. That's a small review. Let's continue with the question. Where Q is the firm's annual output, the corresponding marginal cost function. Marginal cost, you see, we got marginal cost function, which will be 5 plus 2Q. The market demand curve for this industry is Q equals to, that's the market. That's the market. You see, it's not individual, and for these two, they are firm level. Okay, they are firm level. Firm level and market level is quite different. Q equals to 262.5 subtract P over 2, where P is the market price. Each firm is earning 0 profit. How many firms are there in the industry, and what is the market equilibrium price? What is the market equilibrium price? Okay. So this time, what does that mean? So if each firm is earning 0 profit, this is quite important. Each firm earning
Cost is equal to margin.
0 profit. First, we have to decipher this one. And I write down another one, which is firm stop producing. Are these two identical or not? Can we replace one by each other? Firm earning 0 profit and firm stop producing.
Well, if you stop producing, you're earning negative profit. If you're earning 0 profit, you're like right at the equilibrium.
Actually, it's quite close to the answer, but here you are earning positive profit. Because first you earn some profit, and then your profit start to shrink, and finally your profit is 0 for the additional unit, so you stop producing, but you still got the whole bunch of profit before. So you are earning positive. Here is just 0. And the difference between this is when firm stop producing, you set P equals to marginal cost. When firm earning 0 profit, you set P equals to what? Average cost. Since for your average cost, right? Average cost means for each unit, on average, how much do you cost? And when the price you earn is equals to that part, means for each unit you are earning 0 profit. Does that make sense? Average cost means on average for each unit. Like I will make maybe water. Let's use bottle of water. For each bottle of water, on average, what's the cost? Maybe if the cost on average is $1, then for each bottle you are not earning. You are selling for $1, right? The price is $1. Price $1, average cost $1 means each bottle you are earning 0. You're earning $0. But if the firm stop producing means the price is still $1, but the average is not. It's the last unit. When you keep producing until your last unit cost be $1, you stop producing, and all the bottle of water before cost less. They cost less. Since remember the graph, the marginal cost is increasing. That's the marginal cost graph, and the average variable cost is looks like this. It's increasing and increasing again. And total cost is like this. That's average total cost. This is average variable cost. So Oh, I think this is very misleading. Forget this graph. We will come to this later. Yeah, sorry. Just and try to understand this part first. We don't have variable cost and fixed cost. That graph we incorporate variable cost and fixed cost concept. Here we only have the variable, like the. Oh, so this should be average cost, not variable. V means variable. Average variable cost. Here we only have average cost. P equals to AC. So when if we can do this, I can demonstrate this by this way. If I times Q on both sides, okay. For this one, you cannot times Q since each one has different price and same price but different cost. For this one, because each one unit is having this cost, so if you times Q, what we will get? This will be the total what? Total revenue. Does that make sense? P times Q is the total revenue. And this part will be average cost times Q means your total cost. Since total cost over Q equals to average cost. Because total cost over Q from that table, total cost over Q equals to average cost. So total cost equals to average cost times Q. So this is your total cost, this is your total revenue. Total revenue equals total cost, gives you zero profit. Gives you zero profit in total. Okay. So that's a difference here. That's I shouldn't erase, sorry. That's an important thing here. It means we have to set P equals to average cost, and we have to set P equals to marginal cost in the second scenario. Now the question tells us each firm is earning zero profit, means we have to set P equals to average cost. Do we have P? Do we have the price here? We don't have, right? We don't have the price here. So do we have average cost? Maybe at least let's find average cost first. What's the average cost? What do we have? Maybe what do we have? Any ideas? What do we have?
Total cost divided by Q.
Yeah, great. So average cost equals to total cost divided by Q equals to this equation divided by Q, which means 400 over Q plus 5 plus Q. Okay? Everyone okay with this one? Because average cost equals to total cost over Q, and we got a function for total cost. So we should set P equals to this, even though this is not a number. We will solve this later. So first we know the price should be this. And for each firm, let's use another condition, this one. Each firm will only stop producing because it's a stable market. So all the firms stop producing. When the firms stop producing, they will have a price equal to what? Equals to marginal cost, which we have 5 equals to 2Q. So our price should be this and this together. What should we do? Our price should be this and this together because zero profit gives you this function, gives you like the price equals to average cost. And firm stop producing gives you this function, means price equals to marginal cost. So we set them equal and we got a function with Q. We can solve Q. This one and this one. Set them equal. And if I want to check the answer, it's 20. Q equals to 20. Quantity equals to 20. Yeah, try to understand like the idea of the total cost, marginal cost, and average cost. Marginal cost, for marginal, every marginal thing, all marginal thing is additional. Marginal equals to addition. And total, we add all together. And average equals to total over Q. That's how we calculate those three. I will leave them here, so you always got something to refer to in the following questions.
So
since we are going to draw a graph. Yeah.
Could you just explain? So it says that each firm in the industry is currently earning zero economic profit, but it's not mentioning that the firms have stopped producing.
Oh, in a market, in a market when we have equilibrium, firms stop producing.
Oh.
Yeah, they stop producing when there's equilibrium.
Producing. When you say stop producing, do you mean stop producing additionally, or they stop?
Like each year, like can we think of each year you produce this amount? Like you have to decide how much you want to produce each year.
So if you're talking, say, there is this industry which produces 200 units or something per month. So the moment
per month, yes.
So the moment they reach 200, they stop producing. Is that what you mean by that?
Yeah.
Or is it?
Yeah, I think that's something.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there any confusion in that one?
No, I was just like in this one.
Yeah, because you're right. We are assuming at the market equilibrium, firm stopped producing. Firm stopped producing because if the firm keep producing, you have to find someone to buy it. It's not market equilibrium, right? For the market equilibrium point, the point is like a spot. At this certain spot, all the goods are sold. All the goods are consumed.
But isn't this spot a dynamic spot? So somebody buys.
Yeah, right. Don't go dynamics. Don't go dynamics. That's too far, right?
Yeah, because that way somebody would buy. There would be again a gap. Then somebody would have to produce so that they.
Yeah, and then you have to do another analysis. I mean, all these questions are designed about that point.
Okay.
Okay. All the questions are designed only for that point, for this point. All the questions are designed for this point, and we don't care about how the graphs change, how the line shift, how maybe the point move. We only care about what's like the numbers of this point, like the coordinate of this point. Why is that? Because since if you want to do further, first you still have to get this point, right? You have to start from this point. That's why we're assuming we are just at this point. And after that, we can go steps further, and economists may do that, PhD students may do that, but we don't have to, right? Right now, we don't have to. So I'm going to erase. And let's go to application 3. And for application 1 and 2, I think in my last office hour, I talked about them. And they are all recorded in the video, and which I will upload tomorrow. So if you still want to ask, yeah, we can discuss later. But they are all included in that video, so don't worry. So application 3 will be discussed here, and 1 and 2 in that video. And for the first questions, for the first couple of questions, which are designed for Thursday class only. Did you know that?
Second.
Did you got this question, like the credit card question?
I've just done the first one right now.
The first one, right? Did you got that?
Yeah, I have.
Since the professor marked here as Thursday class only. Yeah, still you got that right?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Then if you want to discuss that one, we can discuss. But that one is not that hard, I think.
No.
Probably later on.
Yeah, probably later. Let's do application 3
You have
first.
doubts in the first one?
I think I'm good on it.
Yeah, let's do the third. Yeah, okay. Let's do the application 3 first. So first one question. Did you all read that paper? Like that? Are you welcome? So entry, exit, routine. If you all did that, we can directly move on to the questions. Okay. So question A. Most markets do not have a central actor setting prices, but prices still move towards the market clearing prices. So how the price is set in a typical competitive market? So how does the price set in a perfect competitive market? Here we have to use the dynamics, the dynamics view, like the ideas. How the price setting in that? Maybe first, the price is not at the equilibrium, right? This is the price. This is the quantity. If the price is lower than the equilibrium, what will consumer and buyer do?
Fine.
Like the consumer, there's higher demand, excess demand, right? More people want, for example, we which is under the price. Something free. Yeah, if something is free, let's think of everything is free. Yeah, if maybe I give you like if I'm selling
Cell phone.
like that, yeah, I'm doing this TA, and this is free, right? This is free for you, so you all want them. You all want this, right? And you want more, maybe you want more. Why can't we do it every evening? That's too much for me, right? So, but if this is free, you want more, and I find it not profitable. I find I cannot earn more, so I start to quit. And you still want it, right? You still want it. Then you maybe find another person, and you discuss to him, right? We have this story with Alex. He's a real good TA, but because we didn't pay him, he stopped. And this time, why don't we give you some like the salary, right? We will provide you with maybe $10 per hour to let you give us a TA class. And so he agreed. So the price surged to $10, right? That's what happens when the price is below the equilibrium. There's the consumer, they want to pay more to get the good, and the producer, they also find the market profitable, right? They find the market profitable, so they enter into the market. That's the story of this. And what about when the price is higher? When the price is higher than equilibrium, is there any example?
You a lot more TAs. A lot more people that want to be TAs.
Yeah, right. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. So when after all TAs heard of this, because they are earning zero before, and they heard that one class started to give them money. So there are like the 100 TAs in the Georgetown all come to you to say, I'm okay with $10. Please give me a TA class. So you got a bunch of classes every day. And what do you feel? You feel I don't need that classes, right? I don't need all of them. So why don't maybe I just cut the price to 5, and then some TA will stop, right? Some TA will quit the market. So that's why when the price is higher, all the producers find it really profitable. They find it profitable, so they started to enter into the market, and which will, they find it. The producers? A lot of producers were already in the market. They are in the market, but the consumers, they don't want to pay that high price. They find, if we can find 100 TA, why don't we maybe cut the price and find just one, right? We set the price lower, see if only one TA wants to do at that price. So then the consumer, it's all like the consumer and the producer. And the consumer, it's always the consumer side who can maybe finally decide, because you are the one who buy the goods. We are the one who buy the goods, right? So that's why a perfect competitive market, the price is set not by the consumers itself, but by all the consumers together, and by like the relationship between consumers and producers. Okay, so that's the dynamics. When the price is too high, it will go down. When the price is too low, it will go up. Finally, reach a point when only you want a TA class and only I may be provided. That's maybe you give me $1 to buy a hot dog. So that's a question number 8. That when you just analyze when the price is too low, what happened? When the price is too high, what happened? I don't think I made a really clear point there. So you just figure it out right by yourself. This is not that hard. But yeah, I didn't prepare that well for this question. Okay, so question B. Uber has criticized over the low take-home pay received by the drivers. So the drivers are complaining. And explain the market dynamic that has led to falling pay for drivers over the past years. So why the price is going lower and lower and lower? So why is that? You can think of maybe that situation here. So why?
More drivers.
Yeah, more drivers into the market, and the consumers find, we can find a cheaper ride, right? And they are competing because they want you to take the ride. If they are setting a really high price and you don't buy it, you don't pay for it, their profit is zero. So they want to lower the price to compete with each other. And finally, some Uber driver will quit the market. Some Uber driver will still be in the market, and the price is maybe quite low.
Is it also because of competition? Because Lyft is also there, not drivers amongst
the cross-market competition.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe another competition is also like the car industry. If the car industry lower the cost, lower the price. If you can buy a car with very cheap price, why won't you buy a car instead of taking Uber? Right? You bought a car and you just ride by yourself instead of doing Uber. So that's between the market. A lot of things can have influence on the price. So that's question B. Question C. Consider the following experts. Okay, this passage explains that drivers are barely acting out account profit. So here, actually, the professor wants you to learn the idea about account profit, AP, and economic profit. Yeah, that's really right. That's really important. So how do we calculate the account profit? If you are think of you as the manager of a firm, how will you calculate your account profit? Yeah, each month.
Revenue minus cost.
Revenue minus cost. And what will you include in the revenue? It's like the money you have in your cashier or something, right? Your deposit account. So that's a revenue. And what about the cost? What cost will you incorporate?
Running the business, maintenance.
Sorry?
Explicit costs?
Explicit? What's that?
They're like, I don't know how else to say that actually.
So that's
like what you're paying for capital and labor, right?
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, great. Yeah, actually, that's macroeconomics, but capital and labor, CIL, that's two functions. You know, actually, you learned like Cobb-Douglas, right? The Cobb-Douglas function, which means two ingredients are the capital and labor. For example, a burger shop, a burger store, the capital will be like the machine, and the labor will be how people you hire. And we have the variable cost, like the eggs, like the flour, and everything else, right? That's what you calculate, what you take into account when you do the account profit. So this one is straightforward because that's what's shown on your balance sheet, what's shown on your income sheet, on your the sheet you prepare for yourself. But the economic profit is more like a, let's say, you have to take in something else into consideration, and that thing I tell you is the opportunity cost. You have to subtract the opportunity cost, which means you are if you are also okay, you are running a burger store and you earn maybe $1 per day. Okay, right? You earn $1 net profit per day after maybe all the cost, even your living cost, like the travel fee, like the commission fee, and and also maybe your own meal. You pay for your own meal. After all, everything, every day you can save $1. Will you do that or not? You won't, because doing any other business can maybe give you a higher payment, right? Can give you a higher income.
In case, in this example, R minus C is 1, then say revenue minus cost.
Oh yeah, right. Revenue, which means your account profit. Well, and
Yeah.
the example I just gave to you, we got $1 account profit, but we won't run the business. That this economic profit idea just explains why, right? Usually because any like the traditional theory tells us when you have an account profit, you will do your business. But like the economic theory tells you when your economic profit is positive, you will do your business instead of just the account profit. Earning $1, you will still quit the market since you think that like my opportunity cost for doing this is too high, right? I don't want to earn that $1. Maybe I can earn more, or maybe I just want to stay at home and watching TV, which I think is more valuable than $1. Right. So that's the opportunity cost. That's about your own feelings about the economic cost. Economic profit. So economic profit will be greater or smaller than the account profit.
Smaller.
Smaller. Great. So question C about this. Consider the driver working 50 to 60 hours per week to cover his or her automobile lease payments. Would the driver be better off if he or she owns the car outright? So you got two plans. Plan A, you have to work 50 to 60 hours, and you have to pay the lease. Plan B, is buying the car. If we ignore everything else, we just think about the car itself, okay? We ignore everything else, like the living cost, everything else. Well, which plan sounds better to you? Only about the car. Will you work 50 to 60 hours per week to get a car, or will you directly spend a lot of money on the car? Which one do you prefer? Buy the car. You prefer buy the car, and what's your reason? You don't want to maybe bother, right? You don't want to be so tired running a business, like that. 50 to 60 hours. Do you know how many hours are there in a week?
7 to 20.
Yeah, 7 times 24. So what's that?
8 to 160. 24, 7, 8.
It's 168. You got 168 hours. Now you have to sleep. You have to sleep 56 hours per day, and you have to have a meal for 14 hours per day, and you have to maybe relax at least for 14 hours, not per day, per week. And yeah, right. After taking all that into account, how many hours will you have? I think almost 80 or 70. Leaves you only 70 or 80 hours you can work. So you don't want to spend them driving an Uber. Yeah, right. You don't want to spend them driving an Uber. That can be the reason why you want to buy a car. And for that, your answer should be using the opportunity cost. Since you think the opportunity cost for time is too high, right? The opportunity cost for time is too high. You don't want to bear that. You want to spend it. You don't want to spend it like this one. And for plan B, buy the car. If you don't want to buy the car, you want to do the lease. Maybe you can think, I can save money. I can save money and I can invest, right? If I have all like the 10, maybe 100,000 to buy a car. If I invest in the stock, invest in Apple, Microsoft, maybe it will double or triple in the next year, and I can buy a car and still got some money, right? Still got some money back. That's maybe the explanation.
But
and
does that make him better off? Like, would the driver be better off?
Well, you have to take high risk. You have to take high risk, right? You cannot promise. I mean, I cannot promise you earning money from the stock market.
No, so no. The question: would the driver be better off if he or she owned the car outright?
It's like the which plan you choose, right? If you are better off with this plan, you will choose this plan. If you are worse off with this plan, you will stick to the original plan. Okay.
So it can be ideal.
And I simply want to ask Professor about this question. Did Professor say anything about this?
No, I
Not yet. Okay, so what did he say?
He just said about Uber one. The Uber one I'm not clear, but according to the application question 1, he said in the email.
Oh yeah, I see. And he sent an email on that, right?
Yeah.
Like the question 1, the cost. The question 1, there's a question about what's the total cost of production, and that one is holding the quantity constant, right? You remember if you got his email, that one is holding quantity constant. Yeah. So for this one, if we didn't make any comments, let's stick to this answer. Like, which plan you choose? If you think owning a car outright is better, you have to say because I want to save the opportunity cost of time. And if you think like doing this is better because maybe you want to save money and you want to invest and you think your investing ability is great, right? I don't trust mine. So I'm going to erase A, B, C, D, and going to the hardest part, which is about the graph. For this question, this is TC, MC, AC.
Yeah.
So for question E, like the APC, ABC, MC, and the MR equals to P. Yeah, like that for like the let's say goals, for things is going to bother you for a long time. So try to adapt to this, and it's really going to bother you a long time. And you even have fixed cost FC, APC, ABC, MC, MR, and FC. AFC. So A means average. A means average. Okay. All A means average. Fixed cost. AFC. Average fixed cost. Average total cost. Average variable cost. MC, marginal cost, and MR. So what's the relationship between MC and all these? You use MC to calculate the total cost, and you use total cost to calculate the average total cost. Okay? So the relationship is like this. So it's a word that's at the beginning of the word, the MC exists. Like the God creates the MC, and first step is you use MC to calculate your total cost. Since MC will get to total cost, will accumulate, right? The accumulation of MC is total cost. One like this. 1 plus 2, 3. 1 plus 2 plus 4, 7. 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 3, 7 equals to 14. So the accumulation. I'll write it down. And after the total cost, we divide it by Q. We divide it by Q. Here, I divided by Q means average total cost. Okay, we divide it by Q. And on the other side, I just do two things. I just analyze what are there in total cost. Okay, we got two parts. First is our total variable cost and our total fixed cost. Total variable cost is like the burger store, the flour, the egg. For each burger you are having some cost. And total fixed cost means like the capital you invested, the machine you buy, like the rent you pay. That's a fixed cost. So total average cost will give you, if you over by Q, I still use this angle. If you over by Q means average variable cost, and the total fixed cost, if you over by Q, gives you average fixed cost. So you know these two add up to total cost. These two add up to total cost. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 things here. Average total cost, marginal cost, average variable cost, and average fixed cost. Okay. And one more thing is we want to set our marginal revenue equals to MC, which is also the price. That comes like the finally comes, because that's how we decide when we will stop producing. And some people, some nerds, some nerds will also like the what's the word here? They also calculate MC by doing marginal variable cost and marginal fixed cost, but I don't think that's necessary. But in case that exists in your exam, marginal variable cost is just at this level. You don't divide at this level. You divide at this level, you know. And still you do a total up. Can you imagine if you divide at this level? Like if you divide at this level, you got marginal variable cost and marginal total cost. Then we move this line to that side. We add them up, we will get average variable cost and average fixed cost. We will get total cost. We'll get total cost and we over Q got average.
That is accumulation of that, right?
Yeah, right, accumulation of marginal. But don't worry. I think first you'll remember this graph, and for this part, maybe hopefully it won't exist. Let's see will that exist in the problem set. Okay, if not, then don't worry. So that's a 5 concept in the like we want to deal with. And then I want you to remember a really big graph. The graph should draw like this. First, which thing we will draw first? It's a y-axis, I tell you. It's a joke. It's a cold joke. It's a bad joke, I mean. And then you draw the x-axis, y and x. You can draw the x first. And after that, the first line you draw, then we choose out of 5. Which one do you think? Following the length of object. Marginal cost, right? It's the beginning. It's a beginning of the origin of everything. So the marginal cost looks like this. So what's the x and what's the y? The x will be quantity and y will be price. Or maybe the dollars. You can put dollars here. Dollars. Since sometimes the cost and the price you cannot. Some people find it hard to understand why cost equals to price, but yeah, we forget. It's just about we forget that. We just think of like it's dollars, all about dollars. And this is the marginal cost line, which is the MC. If I draw some colorful charts. Yeah. Oh, I will draw a really big graph. Okay, so that's the MC. MC is white. And second one, which one do we draw? We draw total cost, right? But I don't want to draw the total cost here, since total cost is not on each unit. That's why it's accumulation. And here, each one is on each unit. You see, it's on each unit. So for this quantity, I got the cost for this unit. So I don't draw total cost. And we directly draw like the average variable cost and average fixed cost. Actually, we directly draw two things. This one will be shown on the graph, and this one. Average variable and average total. Since average total subtract average variable equals to average fixed. Okay, average total subtract that will be average fixed. So average total looks like this. And this intersection point will be the lowest. Sorry, will be the lowest of this curve. Lowest point of this curve. Average total cost. Why is that? Why is that if you can read the book? Right. And if you don't want to read the book, remember, and that's really helpful. And gradually, maybe you can understand why is that. Actually, I even forget why is that. So that's average total, and the average variable looks similar. This is the lowest point. So both point A and point B are the lowest point of this curve. And why it is the lowest point? Since for each additional, when your marginal cost, think of this, when your marginal cost equals to your average, then the next unit you produce will increase your average or decrease your average. The next, when your marginal equals to your average, the next unit you got a higher MC, which will increase your average, right? Because it's high, the next unit will be higher than your average, and your total average will be pulled up or lifted up, raised up by the next unit. Because next unit you got a higher MC. So that's why this point should be the lowest point on the curve. A should be the lowest on ATC, and B should be lowest on AVC. And whether these two curves are parallel, I can tell. And don't bother about that. It's not. It doesn't matter if it's parallel or not. But you draw like this way. That's a second step. Okay. And what's a third? After drawing this, after finishing this, I'm going to draw I'm going to show you the fixed cost. Okay, what's a fixed cost? Maybe tell me. By definition, maybe first. What's a fixed cost out here?
You've already spent it. It's not going to change in the model.
Yeah, right. So then maybe there should be parallel. Since it's average total cost subtract average variable cost, right? It says distance. All the distance here are the fixed cost, and they should be fixed. So maybe they should be parallel. But if two curves have the same, all have the constant distance, I'm not sure if they are parallel or not. But remember, this is the fixed cost.
This is average fixed cost.
Average fixed cost. And total fixed cost, interesting. You can do like this. This area, because fixed cost times Q. Can you imagine? This area, if I draw. This will be total fixed cost. Since it's fixed cost times Q, fixed cost times Q. Okay, fixed cost times Q. But let's stop. Don't go that further, since we haven't decided our point here. First, the fourth step is actually the most important one. Since we are going to use the fourth step to decide which point. We got too many points here, right? We got too many quantities, I want to say. Each curve has, why is red? Each curve has infinite quantities on it. So the fourth curve we will decide like the quantity. The fourth curve is we got this. We got MRR, the price equals to MC. So first, well, not first, maybe the first. If this is the price, we draw a horizontal line until it reaches MC, and that decides which quantity we are going to choose. Does that make sense? We draw a horizontal line. This is the price P star, and that decides on each firm level which quantity are we going to choose. And then we draw a vertical line. Okay, we got a lot of points here. I will label again. You shouldn't, if it's A and B, you'd better forget A and B, okay? I will start with C and D, in case you have already labeled it. I will start with C and D. If this is C, this is point O. This is origin, it's O. And this is D. This is E. And this, with average variable cost, we call it maybe A, B, C, D, E, F. And with average total cost, the intersection point, we call it A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, so we got C, D, G, F, E, O. We got all the points here. Let me ask you, which line, use two letters, which line is the variable cost? At this point, at this price, at price P, which line is the variable cost?
Average variable
EF. EF will be the average variable cost. Okay, which will be the total cost? EG. EG. Which will be the fixed? FG. Okay, so if you draw horizontal lines here, you will get the areas, and the greatest area means like the what? This area. CDEO. CDEO. What's that? CDEO.
margin.
What's a CDEO? Can see CDEO? Can see that?
Is that marginal revenue?
It's a total revenue.
Total revenue? Okay, it's the accumulation, so it's
Accumulation, the marginal revenue will be the total revenue. Okay, and if I label X and Y here. This will be the total revenue, and XGEO. What will be the XGEO? XGEO. XGEO, look at point G. Always focus on this line.
average food.
Total cost. Great. XGEO. XGEO total cost. And YFEO. Total variable cost. And what about XGFY? Will that be what? Total fixed cost. Okay, and what's a profit? It's CDGX because it's total revenue subtract XGEO, right? So it's CDGX. That's all. That's for this graph. That's for this graph. And choose. Yeah, sure.
Can you explain why CDEO is total revenue?
Because this is your price, which is your marginal revenue. This is your quantity. Marginal revenue, all the price times quantity, is a total, right? It's like a square.
This is the accumulation of marginal cost.
Accumulation of marginal cost.
That's why it's the.
Oh, you mean which one?
So the total revenue.
The total revenue is no, it's not. It's not a.
So you're actually doing marginal cost into the quantity.
If we assume each unit is cost at this level, it should be.
Okay, so this is at equilibrium. So at equilibrium is.
Yeah. I leave at the equilibrium. Yeah.
Yeah.
At equilibrium, you got this one, right? At
equilibrium.
At this star. At this star, you got this. You got all the points and yeah, right. You should be really familiar with this.
E star, P star.
No, I mean E star is equilibrium.
Okay.
It's not the point on the graph. It's
Okay.
it's equilibrium.
Okay.
It's a word. And finally, what should we do? I should warn you two things. First, this line do not necessarily intersect in any points on the graph. So this is just a horizontal line. You could draw, you see, it looks like it passes this point, but do not necessarily. It's just a random line. And this point, G and F, do not have to be these 2 points. And they shouldn't be, because these 2 points are not on the same quantity. These 2 points, like these 2 points are not on the same quantity. So that's why G and F, they cannot be those 2 points at the same time. So that's something when you draw a graph, just draw a vertical line, intersect. Just intersect with all the curves, okay? With all the curves, and try to draw a really, really big graph. Bigger than this is fine. Oh, you don't want that big paper. Oh, that's too big. Just draw a really big graph, and with colors to show the areas. Okay, with this graph, let's do this.
Can I take a photo of this?
Yeah, we got a video actually. Or you can take a photo.
Yeah, because that's easier to.
Actually, graphs are everywhere on the internet. If you search ABC, APC, they will give a graph like this. But this is just like the steps. Maybe this can remind you of how we draw this, combined to all the components. Okay. So let's see. If we want like the CXDG, if we want CXDG to be 0, which means we want the profit to be 0, what should we do? Which price should we choose? Let's do, I will erase this part. So then we can answer this question. Since the question is asking about like the first question, covering fixed cost.
Appropriate level to reflect the values.
So if the price is higher than fixed cost, if the price is higher than fixed cost, it's hard to see. It's hard to say. I have to say. Let's think of another way. So first question: will the driver be profitable? If the driver wants to be profitable, which means he should cover his total cost, TC, right? So the price should be higher than which point? Which point will you choose? The price should be higher than X, should be higher than C, or should be higher than X, or should be higher than Y?
X.
Yeah, should be higher than X. You're right? It should be higher than X. Which means when you draw a horizontal line,
going at the intersection?
Yeah, you have to go to the intersection. Any point below the intersection, because remember how we draw the graph. We draw the graph first MC, and then we draw like the ABC, and we draw this. And if a price is lower than is here, if a price is here, it's not okay. Right? If price is here, you draw a horizontal line, you cannot cover your total cost. This is your total cost. So the price should be at least at this point. That's why this point is still matters, you know. The price should be higher than this point. So if you want to run in the long run, means, let me write this down. Long run means you have to cover total cost. But short run, you only have to cover your variable cost. Does that make any sense to you? Because in the short run, I think you'll learn this in the class. In the short run, if you cover your average variable cost, you will keep producing, because you don't take the fixed cost into consideration in the short run. But in the long run, you have to cover your total cost, which means in the short run, if your point is higher than A, you will produce. But if your point is lower than B, you won't produce in the long run. You will keep producing in the short run. So this question, if we go to this question, is the driver covering fixed cost? Is he covering variable cost? So first we think, is he making profit? He's not making.
He's not making enough.
Yeah, he's not making enough profit.
Which means, but still he's making some profit.
Oh, really?
Would it be short run then?
Oh yeah, in the short run he keep driving, right? If he keeps driving in the short run he's making profit, which means he covers his variable cost. Yeah, but he cannot cover his fixed cost, which means the total cost. I think total cost should be a better one here. He can cover his variable cost in the short run, but he cannot cover his total cost in the long run. That's why he's getting negative economic profit, but he's still running his business in the short run.
So why isn't the driver covering their total costs? Like according to our graph, they're covering their total costs, aren't they?
Oh no, this graph is just for
So the question is.
It's for explanation. It's not about this question. Okay. Yeah. For the question, the graph should look like this.
It is MR is equal to P star at the appropriate level to reflect the driver's current situation?
It's like this. For this question, the graph should look like this. You are covering your variable cost, but you're not covering your total cost.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's the graph for this one. Okay, so that's question E.
If it's at point A, if it's at point A, he's barely covering his?
It's hard to say. You just draw a graph like this, please.
I
know. If at point A, we can tell. Maybe barely covering, earning zero profit in the short run. Will you run or not? That's a problem. To be or not to be. That's a question. Yeah. Do you like Shakespeare? Don't know who is Shakespeare. Now think about the driver's production decision in the short run and long run. Should the driver keep driving for Uber in the short run? Should keep driving for Uber in the long run? If we know the graph looks like this, we can decide. We can help him decide, right? In the short run, earning profits is okay. You can do, but in the long run, do not do it because you cannot cover maybe the cost for a car. So, yeah, right. So in the long run, do not do the business. Maybe you can do something better in the long run. So just to try to, In the short run, you cannot change your fixed cost. And question G has nothing to do with all these. Usually this is tested. This is tested since in a traditional class. There will be a question ask you to show which part is a economic profit, which part is the total cost, which part is the average cost, which part is the variable cost. So usually will ask you about, since I don't know will you go that far or maybe go that detail in this point, maybe not. So learning this graph is also helpful. At least you know how economists can combine things to a simple graph, right? This is about like the economic decision. But one assumption is you know your price, which is the hardest thing. Usually we don't know the price. And actually, by price I mean the intrinsic price, the real price. We know the price of everything. But if you know, like if you see the price for an electric car as like $300,000, will you enter into a market or not? You are worrying, will that be the real price people want to afford or want to pay, right? Maybe it can be cheaper, maybe it can be higher. So do not do business. Okay, so G is, let's read G together. Suppose Uber made an effort to increase driver take-home pay. So we come back to take-home pay again. By increasing all fares by 50%. So what's the Uber do? The Uber just increased the price by 50%. In each case, would the driver revenue increase by 50%, less than 50%, or not increase at all? Okay, let me tell you what choose. The driver will never increase by 50%. Since it's a market, you cannot reach the original how to say the original goal, the goal you set for this policy. Let's do the first one. Uber is the only share of taxi provider in the market does not allow any new drivers to enter the market. So in this case, if the Uber is the only one, it will increase. It surely will increase, since you are a monopolist. You are a monopolist, so you can take every profit out from the consumer. But since consumers, they can still make their own decision. So the consumer will choose to, maybe if I don't want to take an advantage, I don't want to be taken advantage by the company. So the consumer will choose not take the Uber. Maybe some of the consumers, they can afford not taking the Uber. They can do the metro, they can walk, right? They can do that. So it will increase by less than 50%. And the reason is maybe no other company will compete, but the consumers, they can quit the market. They can leave the market when you increase the price. Second one, other ride-share companies are operating and new drivers are allowed to join. We will see those two things. The first is you have other suppliers, and second is they are allowed to join, means you have a perfectly competitive market. In a perfectly competitive market, in the end, in the equilibrium point, what will we do? In the equilibrium point, they still earn zero profit, right? They still earn zero profit. Okay. Yeah, at the equilibrium point, they earn zero profit. Oh, sorry. For this one, and for Uber, if the Uber still increase the price in a competitive market, all the riders will choose other companies. Does that make sense? It's a competitive market, and you stick to this price. You don't want to change, right? You don't allow the price to fall back to the original level. If you increase the price, no riders will take your service. So the revenue actually will decrease to zero, will drop to zero. That's the second scenario. It will drop to zero. And the third one, Uber is the only ride-share taxi provider, but Uber allow new drivers to join. So in this case, think about the price. In this case, what will happen? It's a Uber, now it's a Uber market, and the Uber said we will increase the fare for the salary for the Uber drivers. The new drivers will join, right? New Uber drivers will join, and it's quite interesting because even though the professor asked about the revenue, he didn't mention revenue in this one. Yeah, he said maybe there will be increase in the revenue. That's true because you increase the fare, but it's still less than 50%, like the first scenario, still less than 50%. And one thing he wants you to answer is when the Uber driver stop to join. Think of this question: when will the new drivers stop to join? When one thing equals to the other, what equals to the other? I can tell you something equals to zero. Yeah, right. When something equals to zero, new drivers will stop to join. It's really straightforward. Don't think it too complex. What equals to zero? For you, if you are a driver, profit, yeah, right? And what profit? Then that's a question. AP or EP? For you, if you learn economics.
No, for a driver, in a sense.
They doesn't know you mean.
Yeah, he doesn't know economics, so
you say doesn't know, so it's AP. But I think professor prefers EP here because in the microeconomic world, we assume that all people are rational, right? They are rational and they know what they should do. So when EP is zero, they will stop joining. So that's for question 3. And we still got some time, maybe 10 or 20 minutes. Oh no, 10 minutes.
So in this part, in the monopolistic part, are we supposed to explain with the supply and demand curve also?
No, be brave. I mean, just less than 50%. Why is that? Yeah. I don't know who is grading yours this time, but who are you going to put? Whose box? Right? Did you receive an email? Because professor there, he's moving the 2 classes due dates the same day. He's making your 2 classes handing in on the same day. So that's why you have to hand it into different boxes instead of his boxes. Otherwise, it will mix. It will mix with each other. So one class will hand it into my box, and one class will hand it into Eric's box. So which one? Did he assign?
So Thursday section is saying your name, right? So we'll be doing it.
Really? Oh, yeah. I'm going to do yours. Yeah. So be brave. So be brave. Yeah, that's it. I mean, if you understand that, the most important thing is you understand this question. And if you are here, it means you do understand, right? If you do understand how that works, that's okay. That's enough. Yeah. So it's still a lot of reading, but I think this problem set is a little bit better than previous ones, since it's not that advanced. You don't have to. Yeah, it's not that advanced. You get something you are familiar. Especially for this one.
We can just discuss question 1 only, because like the second part is something which.
Oh yeah,
the second one.
The second one. Okay.
The first one is.
Oh yeah. So why is this practice so important to credit card companies?
Are we talking about surcharges? Like
the surcharges, like the do not allow surcharges, right? Without surcharges. Yeah, prohibit surcharges. Our the manager what they are the credit card they are doing is prohibit surcharges.
No, but according to the reading,
they are doing that.
Yeah, according to the reading, they said that people can't file a case again, but they are allowing surcharges basically.
What surcharges?
That's. I don't know if the other people have read.
So for this question, I think the professor wants you to answer why they are prohibiting. Why they are prohibiting.
Okay.
Yeah. You see, why do credit card companies insist on prohibiting surcharges? You see the second one. Why do credit companies insist on prohibiting surcharges, even when it exposes them to potentially billions of dollars of legal liability? So why they are prohibiting the surcharges? Since with the surcharge, here the difference is with surcharge or without surcharge, right? Mm-hmm. Without the surcharge, you the consumers themselves they don't realize that they are paying the part of the processing fee, right? If you surcharge, if you allow the merchants to surcharge, the consumers themselves find that there's a surcharge in the price. So they find they are paying the fee. So maybe they are feeling now. That's something about the behavioral economics maybe. Because for you, do you want to be charged, or maybe do you want to be charged without telling you? Sometimes maybe you will answer you want to be charged if they let people telling you are being charged. But sometimes if you do not know that, even though you know, you are still prefer to do this because all the fees are bear by the whole group. But
yeah, so
everyone is the same.
Yeah, so this is my next question. I just wanted to understand how this really worked, the credit card fees. So say if I'm buying coffee and it's $5.
Yeah, right.
It's $5 for everyone.
Yeah, it's $5 for everyone.
Yeah, and then there is, and if I'm giving my credit card,
mm-hmm.
so say 50 cents is the credit card fee.
Credit card fee. Okay.
So the merchant only gets 4.5. And
4.5.
Yeah,
okay.
And 50 cents goes to the credit card company.
Okay.
That's how it is, right?
Yeah, that's how it is.
So essentially the merchant is being taxed. Is the one who's getting less pay.
Yeah, it's getting less pay exactly because you are still paying $5.
Yeah.
Before, if you do not use credit card, you are still paying $5.
Yeah.
You are not paying any money more, right? but the merchants they are being like the money that the company is taking money away from them.
Yeah. So the next thing is, so if I put a surcharge, so say instead of selling coffee for 5, I sell it for 5.5. And then the surge.
No, you are not. You only surcharge for credit cards. Means without credit card is $5, but with credit card is 5.15.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a like the policy for surcharge, right? It's not does not we increase the because it's like the difference between the first one and the second one is the first one the price has already been increased.
Yes.
Yeah, but for the second one you are telling everyone else without credit card you are paying 4 and 4.85.
Yeah.
But with credit card you are paying $5.
Okay.
Yeah, right. It's like this.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like this.
So that so they just then the question just wants us to know that this is actually a behavioral thing, that when people realize that they are being charged extra to cover the credit card fee, though they might want to transact in cash.
To tell the truth, I don't know what's the purpose of this one. But Professor mentioned of the tragedy of the commons. Did you know that one? Or maybe you didn't read that one? Tragedy.
I didn't read the book, but I didn't find reading the book was like I didn't have to read the book for solving this.
Tragedy of the commons means if the tax. If think about a tax. Yeah, if the government put a tax on this, and then consumer and supplier they bear the tax together. They bear the tax together, right? And you find it's okay. You think it's okay. Maybe you will change, it will change, but you still want to buy it. You won't change your preference. But if the government said anyone who buys this will have to pay a tax to me.
1% extra tax. 10%.
Yeah, it's like something like that. I have to say I don't really get a clear idea on the strategy of commons because it's new even to me. That's something he mentioned here. And for I think you better ask him. Just email him. Since I already got stuff here, I don't understand the question.
Okay.
I have to say that. At first I thought it's something behavioral, but as I just realized he used like a theory, and I really don't know what's a theory about this one. And I can tell you, if you need some hints, it's like this. So common resources, like credit cards, are overused. Compared to the efficient level. So maybe at market equilibrium, you consume like Q1, and now you consume more than Q1. When is common resources? When there's a tragedy of common. So that's why I don't know why so what's the point here? So and if individual consumers have to pay processing fees, if individual has to pay processing fees. If individual has to pay processing fees, they would use less frequently. So the company, yeah, it's like here it sounds like behavioral.
Yeah.
That's the part I understand. If you are charged, if the price is here, with credit card we charge $5, without credit card we charge $4.9, then maybe you don't want to use a credit card. You just pay maybe you don't want to charge. I mean, maybe you don't want to change because you don't want to keep coins, so you still use credit card. Obviously, keep the change.
I think this is related to the first question, part C. Is that with credit card we can get 1% cash back, but also in the question is that with credit card we need to pay the 5% of the transaction amount.
We don't have to bear them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because it's like tax.
Yeah.
So right. For this question, what will be better off or worse off? Think about like the elasticity, right? Right. Because without credit card processing fee, there is like no tax. No tax is fine. Everything is fine. But after the tax is here, after there's a tax, and think of how what's the proportion the consumer are bearing? What's the proportion like the supplier or the producer are bearing? If you are bearing like 1%, then you got 1% back. You are okay. You are just as you give it a zero, like the welfare. But if you are paying out 2% and the consumer is paying out, the producer is paying out 3%, then you are worse off. And if you are paying out maybe 0.5%, which means you are quite elastic, right? Which means you are quite elastic, because the inelastic party will bear more. The inelastic party will always bear more of the tax. So if you bear 0.5% and they bear 4.5%, 0.5 and 4.5, and you are this one means you are elastic and they are inelastic. When this happens, then you are earning. You are better off.
So the question can it also be thought of like this, that so it says that do you think that 1% cashback bonus makes consumer better off or worse off? So can't we just say that with the cashback at least he's getting some money back?
Oh, you mean with or without? But without a cashback means without processing fee. It's not comparing with cashback with processing fee and without cashback with processing fee. That's unfair. Does that make sense? I know what
I'm still being charged.
At least I'm still
I'm still being charged.
Don't compare to that situation. Okay. That's unfair, right? You are still being charged without any cashback. No.
So that's what I'm saying, that I'm being charged in some way or the other. Okay. So if I'm getting cashback, so I'm still getting some money back.
Yeah, right. But no credit card company won't. They will always give cashback, right? Maybe in like the travel credits or in some other ways, but they are still giving money back. That's like the predominant thing in this industry. So it's just about like you are better off or worse off without credit card. Just cash and credit card instead of credit card and credit card. So if you use cash, you are not charged.
Yeah. So how should I answer? Okay. So if I look at question number C right now, how should I answer?
You should answer maybe. It depends on the elasticity. Yeah, how much did you bear of the 5% charge? What proportion did you bear of the 5% fee? If you bear a lot, you are worse off. If you bear less, you are better off. And also, you can answer this. Maybe you are better off because taking cash is really unsafe and it's very hard. It's inconvenient, and the credit card gives you a lot of convenience. That's a good point, I think. And you can think of maybe other like the drawbacks of the credit card. Losing a credit card gives you a lot of pressure. Actually, I lost my credit card the day before yesterday, and I asked them to reissue one, but I still, I bother so much. I keep looking into my app to see if someone's, someone use my card.
Yeah, but that's according to the American law, the banking law. If there is a fraud, you can obviously reclaim it back.
I really don't want there to be always.
Yeah, obviously. So in India, what happens is that initially, if there is a fraud in India right now, the RBI, the Reserve Bank of India has made a law right now. But before that, if a fraud happened, the bank is not liable for the loss.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
So and now it is that if you report the loss within the first 3 days of a fraud, then the bank would pay for it, or else the bank would pay for it. Okay. So that's how.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. I think in China, I don't know what happened in China. Maybe 7 days. China does not sound like that developed, but it's higher income. It's upper middle income. We are upper middle income countries. Like in India also, upper middle income country.
I don't know about India.
I think it's upper middle income.
It's so diversity again.
Even Thailand is upper.